to the Real Estate Majlis podcast, where we'll delve into the latest real estate insights and trends. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, our podcast is here to provide valuable information and expert advice. This episode is powered by Bayut, the leading property platform in the UAE and proud member of the Dubizo Group. Whether you're buying, selling, or renting, Bayut connects you with real estate options that meet your needs using innovative tools like TrueCheck and Bayut GPT. Whether you're looking for a new home or a reliable platform to advertise your listings, choose Bayut, where you'll find real photos, real prices, and real properties. Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Majlis podcast. And today we actually have a very fun podcast with the $1 Million Stars, UAE, Zay and Rami Wahood.
Woo!
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Thank you for having us, guys.
Thank you, Mahmoud. Thank you, Cecilia.
So, look, we met through a $1 Million listing. How was that experience? How did you get in the show? A lot of brokers, they want to know that.
Honestly, I would love to sit here and say I had a really cool casting video or something like that, but they reached out like years ago. This isn't just like a recent thing. This happened like, I'd say 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. And I was just like a nobody. Not that I'm a somebody now, but genuinely no one even heard of me. Like I was a rental broker, but I was doing some Instagram videos and I just put myself out there. And I think they just saw from social media, okay, this girl's, let's call her up and see if she's interested. But they didn't give anything away. So they just said, hey, we've got a show we're looking to shoot. We're inviting you to apply because we've seen your presence on social media. And at this point, it could have been anything. They weren't giving anything away. There was no title. There's no mention of $1 Million listing. It was just a show. So I was just like, okay, sure. And I did it as a bit of a joke because everyone in the office was applying. I was like, okay, cool. I just want to say I applied for it. Never expected to actually be
selected. Yeah.
Selected. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I actually got called from a video, the only video that I actually did of a property tour. And I got called from Ben, and Ben said, hey, have you heard of this show? I want to come and meet you. I said, I didn't really hear about the show, but I'd love to, hear more. And when he told me about it, I was really interested immediately. And then I started watching the show, and then I just started binging.
You didn't know about the show before?
I didn't.
I did, FYI.
Which rock were you?
So I used to hear about the show. People that I dealt with would say, hey, you seem like, you're into that show, or you should be on that show. Or you seem like you're, very much perfect for that show. And it would just come in one ear and come out the other ear, but I never really paid attention to it. But when Ben told me about it, I started watching, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this is like reality. This is actually my life on TV. And it's very interesting to actually see it glorified and in that magnitude. So it was a really, really cool experience.
We actually had Ben and Riyadh on one of our episodes earlier, who also were part of the show, and we talked a lot around brokers and behaviors and how brokers should act. And looking back and where you're standing today in the market, what do you think brokers should do to position themselves out there, step outside the comfort zone? Because both of you started a conversation saying, I had very little exposure online, and that actually was the opportunity who made this moment happen for me. But right now, what would you tell brokers who want to position themselves apart?
So what I would say is when I first came here 5 years ago and started out in real estate, all the people that were at the top and the successful people were pretty much, and this isn't a bad thing, but they were pretty much the people that had just been here so long. They've been here 10 plus years. So they were always the names that you kept hearing again and again. Today's market, if you look at like the people making record sales, they aren't people that have been doing this for 10 years. These aren't people that have been around for 15 years. These are people that maybe started it a year ago. Like I know people that make millions of dirhams in commission a month, and they've been in the market for 18 months. And what I'm saying is this is shifting because we're seeing so much more activity in personal branding. And it's all down to personal branding. And this is why there's a lot of brokers with the old mindset and the old mentality where they're not shifting and getting on platforms on social media, and they're not jumping on the sort of things that need to grab people's attention. And they're getting left behind. As a result, they're losing out on new markets, new audiences, getting new listings. And that's what I'm saying is there are so many people out there where they feel like this is out of my comfort zone. And this is a message to you guys listening to that, because all I can say is after I left that Aldar event where Gary Vee came up on stage. He said something, and it literally
Aldar Experts.
Yeah, Aldar Experts event at the Etihad Arena, I think it was. He said something, and it struck with me, and it stayed with me the entire time. He said, the only reason you're not doing videos, the only reason you're not on social media, you're not offering any sort of advice or information is because you're too worried about what other people think. That is the only excuse that people, they won't even come to terms with it, but that's the reality. And that is what I say. There's a lot of people out there that are great, but they could be better. They could be greater if they really utilize personal branding. That's my personal view.
The way that I see it is you just have to put yourself out there. And I realized that because I was avoiding doing any type of video at all. And Firas, who's now in FAM, or Firas, and so the way that I see it is you just have to put yourself out there. There's no other way around it. You can't tippy-toe around the real estate platform. You have to actually put yourself out there and have that exposure, and you have to have a presence. Without having a profile, without having a presence, you don't exist. You're nobody, and there's no way that anybody's gonna find anything about you. So like you said, having been in the game for 10 years or however many years, somebody who just comes up and does a video will automatically look like he's the expert of some kind of area just by doing some kind of promotion. So it's extremely important, and I tell this to so many people, is just get out there, put yourself out there, and then work on it.
Rami and Zay, question to you both. I mean, you've done a lot of success and progress in the last few years. What is your advice to people who are asking us questions? Should we move to real estate brokerage? Should we leave our jobs and become real estate broker? How does the life of real estate agent look like?
I can say it's not for everyone. Like, I definitely think it's a high demanding job. It's an emotional roller coaster. And, it isn't for everyone. This is effectively, you have to see this job as your own business, whether you're part of a company or not. You have to treat this as your own business. You have to be super, super innovative when it comes to ideas. You have to engage with so many different people. And it is emotionally draining at times. You're dealing with so many different, you're spinning so many plates, so many different scenarios, so many cultures as well that you're, being versatile around. And I think that, can everybody be a broker? No, in my opinion, it's not for everybody. And that's a fact. It's for the people that are super, super hungry, super motivated, super driven, but very disciplined. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a knock on, just because you aren't cut out for it. That's not what I'm saying. Certain personalities are very fitting for other industries, but it takes a certain character to make it out in real estate. Lots of people try, and lots of people will quickly leave the industry and realize it's not for them. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It might even give them the realization that this is not the career for me, but this one is instead, But what I would say is there's a lot of people that have access to people. And ultimately, this is a people's field, right? People buy from people. And I have so many people who are partners, registered partners, where I have set up channel agreements where they're in different industries, different fields. One's a dentist, one's in law, one's an investment banker. And I have them registered with our company, with my company, with my partner. And they just give us referrals, and we treat them like, okay, we'll give you X amount as a referral. But it's a really generous referral, because then they're seeing it as I'm monetizing and leveraging my connections. So I don't think it's necessary for everybody to run into real estate, because it's definitely not for everyone. But I definitely think everyone has the option to leverage their connections and monetize it. I always say, even my clients, I say, hey, you buy a property from me, recommend me to any of your clients, referral business, and I'll make sure you get a percentage of my commission. And that's how I think your network grows. Ultimately, that's my view anyway.
I agree. It's an absolute full-time job. There's no half-assing it. You really have to put everything into it and put your 110% with anything that you do. But this job is very demanding. It is a full-time job, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no days
You don't
off.
switch off.
You just don't,
Yeah.
no matter where you are, no matter where you are in the world. Even if you're on vacation, you're always connected. So
2 weeks ago, I'm on the mountain skiing, and I'm not joking. I literally had to stop on the slopes, on the mountain in Georgia, and literally take a call and go, yeah, okay, I'll arrange that viewing. Okay, yeah, send me the documents. Yeah. And I'm down the slopes like this skiing, and you just don't switch off. And also it affects your family dynamic. It affects your relationships, You have to be with an understanding partner. If you're a real estate agent, whether you're husband, wife, your kids, everybody is impacted because they understand it's a 7-day-a-week job. It doesn't turn off, commission only. Your salary, your income relies on these phone calls. If you're not active, if you're not picking up that call, somebody else is. So you have to drop things sometimes on the spot, leave that dinner, leave that birthday, and run and do that viewing or sign that contract. And that's just the nature of it. And that's why I say it isn't for everyone, because I respect that about people. You know, they want to have their 9 till 5 and they want to be able to switch off in the evenings, and that's totally fine and it's within their right. But I think it's not as easy as it looks, is what I'm trying to say. And I think it's so easy to sort of get carried away by hearing the commissions, because loads of companies, they'll advertise the commissions and the big deals, and we've just closed this, and it's like, damn, I should leave and quit my job. And it's fine. And you know, to test it out and see if it's for you. But also note there's so much graft that goes behind the scenes that you definitely won't see on these stories. And I wish people would sort of be a bit more authentic about that.
The market is super crowded.
It
we
is
all
saturated.
acknowledge that. That's too many brokers. We all keep debating, you know, what else can be done in terms of improve further training and to make them stronger. But there is equally an opportunity. But you have to be prepared to be in social media. And in fact, you said something I resonate with me a lot, because you do have in the past a community specialist, and I'm being in the community for the last 20 years or 10 years, and I know inside out, and people come by from me. No. If somebody's good at TikTok and social and they will start to get into your community, you're going to lose business. So it's not just about your years of experience anymore. You have to be on social, like non-negotiable.
Agreed. You've got to put that ego to one side.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is. It's ego that kills future business. You know, no one can ever have too many clients. No one can ever have too many buyers. You know, so it's either the ship's leaving, are you on it or not?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Definitely,
How do you-
specialization is important.
Rami, maybe, how do you deal usually with ethics issue? We see we have 16,000 real estate agents who are officially registered in land department system. And there's so many issues of ethics and professionalism with dealing, you know, there's a lot of money involved. And sometimes some brokers will take an ethical route to make more money. So from your experience, what is your take on this, and how do you deal with such?
Our company was founded and built on values and integrity. So we like to do things differently. And if that means turning away a bad deal and losing out on some money in the short term, that's okay. But honesty is the best policy. Transparency is the best policy. That's the only way to ensure longevity in this business, because people are going to talk. The market is extremely small, no matter how many brokers are out there. But when you're actually doing the right thing and people know that you're doing the right thing, those people will talk to other people. And that's the only way that it's going to have that ripple effect.
The luxury market is what everybody's been talking about, how many transactions, value, but it's distinctive and you have to be dealing in a different level with customers. So how do you secure high value listings? What's the golden secret?
Yeah, how to obtain big ticket items. I think it kind of starts with you as an individual, preparation and presentation. And I say presentation because I see a lot of brokers out there that are not dressing the part. You have to dress the part. You have to turn up looking sharp, looking professional. You know, you can't be dressed in skimpy outfits expecting to sell mansions and secure mansions listings, you know? So it comes to presentation. You need to make sure that I need to feel as a seller that you are presenting my home. It's my asset. These are people's, you know, probably their biggest assets in their portfolios are their homes. They tend to be. So to secure them, it's preparation. You have to do your research. You have to know the comps in the area. You have to know capital appreciation. You have to know the key communities. You have to also prepare for what the obstacles you're going to face and what are going to be the challenges when you're taking on this listing. You know, everyone fixates on comps and listing and what's it sold for, but you need to put yourself in the buyers. Okay, what are they going to pick at when they first come into this property? I need to address and bring out the issues into the open. A lot of agents, they sort of tiptoe around these problems. They don't want to talk about it. And I go, no, first thing I'm going to do when I enter, I'm going to say the drawbacks are X, Y, and Z. And this is why it's priced at this price point. You know, the drawbacks that you can expect, or let's talk about that plot over there. I'm going to tell you what it's going to be. Lots of agents, I've actually heard this from clients myself. They'll say, oh yeah, that plot, that's going to be a park. No. They've just said that to you because all they're thinking about is the short-term sight of, I need to close this deal and I need to get this commission. No, you need to add value. You need to do your research. You need to really, if you're talking about selling something off plan, you need to know, why is this going to be worth money? Like, how much money can I anticipate on making? So I think when it comes to the high ticket stuff, massive preparation. Enter a listing appointment like it's your life depends on it, like it's a job interview. You need to go in humble, but you need to show that I am capable and I am able to take on this listing. I have access to so many different buyers, networks, agents, and I'm going to work my socks off to sell it. I had a situation where I wanted to get this listing, and I'm not even saying this is not a high-end listing. This is like a 5 mil listing, but at the time I was early in sales, and this meant a great deal to me because I was like, I need to land this listing. I've not had a listing above 1 mil before. So this is like a really personal thing for me. And I went down to the listing appointment, and he was like, first thing he said to me is, listen, after you, I've got an appointment with Sotheby's agent. And I was like, oh, okay. He said, so why should I pick you over him? And I said, well, I'll tell you right now, there's no one that's going to work harder, and I wasn't from a company at the time that was a big name. It wasn't like a big reputable, like had been established in the market, I had to fight. And I basically said to him, I know for a fact my capability, my research. I came to the table, I came with comps, I showed him the price per square foot, I showed him like who is going to be the person that's going to buy this, who is our target audience. When you show that level of enthusiasm and that quality and you've gone to that extent, it gives people confidence that, yeah, you can take this on. And the same applies whether it's 2 mil, 5 mil, 25 mil, it's the same thing. Just show up, do your due diligence and deliver.
Absolutely. So not only is presentation, preparation, product knowledge important, but the personalization as well, letting people know that you're personally going to be the one involved in actually taking on that listing. But on top of that, what's extremely important is to nurture the relationship. And what most people don't do is they don't realize that that relationship that you're having with somebody who's doing a small deal or a small rental is going to get you to that high value listing. It is a ladder, and you have to keep climbing, and you have to nurture these relationships as you go along, and eventually everything will work in your favor, and you have to just keep heading towards that.
What do you do if you get a cold call or if you see listings that are fake? Where can they make a complaint?
Well, the best way is to go to RVS, which is the Real Estate Violation System in Dubai Land Department website, and report that cold calling and report the fake listing. Portals as well, they have their own reporting system. You can go and report these fake listing directly. Dubai Land Department takes very strict measures against fake listing. It can reach 50,000 dirham per case of fake listing.
Or losing your license.
Yeah, losing your license. Cold calling as well is something that we take very seriously. So
It is not allowed. Stop cold calling.
Yeah.
The good thing is now is that all these dead listings are actually been taken offline now. So if you don't have a valid contract A, they get removed. And if a contract F is signed on a property, this just came into effect.
Yeah.
Our listings get automatically removed within 5 days.
Amazing.
Automatically. But our system, being the largest agency, we actually make sure that we have to be everywhere at all times. But if a listing is sold, our system automatically takes that listing down before we get a notification
No,
from...
I get sometimes you get busy and there's lots of things going on and you forgot to take it off, but technology is there. There's no more excuse. Take the listings down. Stop cold calling. The good thing also now you can see who is calling, like 80% of the time is, so you can
So it's the
identify
company
that is a call center or a real estate agency, so you don't pick up the call. But time has moved. It's all about personal branding. Build your brand. Let people know what you do, why you're better, and that's how you can get your customers. You don't need to cold call anymore. And referrals, right?
Like I've had clients say I block agents on the daily. Like I've got
I get 10
100
calls
blocked.
a day at least.
Yeah. And they started putting my numbers in the system because they don't want to get the calls. So I get the calls. And I'm like, damn, I don't want to get cold calls, And it's crazy.
My
How
advice...
crazy is that, right? Because now people buying property, they're putting somebody else's number in it. So the developer now doesn't even know who the buyer is because now
because they don't want to get cold calls.
But that's not good as well.
No, it's just completely insanity.
When you sell a property now in Dubai Land Department system, the OTP goes to your number. So if you choose someone else's number, that's also risky and that's not good. So overall, I think the government is doing a lot of work. I know 40, 50,000 listings have been dropped from the major portals in the last few weeks. But also we want the customers and investors to help us as well reporting these behaviors. At the end of the day, we have a lot of good brokers in the market, and we have also brokers who are doing the fake listing and unethical practices. The question that I have for you, and I don't know if maybe my last question, we see in the West, there is a culture of dealing with exclusive agents. We don't see this here in Dubai. So what do you think? How can we make investors trusting one agent? How do we move to that culture of exclusivity?
It's really important to showcase your knowledge and make sure that you're the right person for the job. If you're dealing with somebody on an exclusive basis, you have to make sure that that person is going to be held responsible to report and make sure that you're aware of what is going on behind the scenes. You want to know how many viewings are being done. You want to know how many, offers you've got. And it's really important to have the most product knowledge and the most customer base in order to take exclusivity on.
I would do anything to get to that system where we can actually instate exclusive listing protocol, because I'll tell you why. The reason why exclusive listings don't work here in Dubai is because they're not really technically exclusive listing. Any seller can dissolve an exclusive listing at any point, so it actually has zero
simple,
meaning.
yeah.
You can do it. No, I'm gonna be really raw here,
Form A's.
right? I go to a seller and I pitch exclusivity and I land the exclusive listing. If that seller gets a call from another broker tomorrow saying, hey, I've got a buyer, but I don't want to split the deal, so I want that exclusive listing, that seller can literally cancel the contract within a second. It's on the app, and it takes 2 seconds to cancel and dissolve exclusivity. And that is why agents don't invest and they don't take the listing to the marketing level that it needs to be, because there's so much risk. I could spend $20,000 on marketing a mansion, which if I have an exclusive listing for 6 months, because let's face it, in America, the standard is 6 months exclusive listing. I know that that's a guaranteed commission. So then I'm gonna spend $20,000 because I'm guaranteed a $500,000 commission check.
Which will increase the level of competition.
Yes.
It will increase the services, and it will make everybody work better.
So much harder. The caliber goes up. The exclusive sort of concept is valued so much more, and people will see a much more mature market system. Right now, brokers aren't gonna part with $20,000 of their money because it's too easy to cancel and dissolve these contract days exclusive listings. So if we could get to a system where it would be a 1-2, because right now it's 3 agents, per contract. But if we could get at a time. But if we could, and again, you can cancel that and shift it around within a second. If we could get to a system where I'm going to lock in a contract A, and it is locked in for 6 months, it's legally binding for 6 months if we agree to 6 months. And that means that agent is guaranteed this commission. They're going to work harder. They're going to invest money, because why wouldn't you? I'm happy to put 20,000 in. I'm getting 500K. Of course I'm going to do it. And therefore the marketing level goes up. Also, what it means is sellers will take it more seriously with when they're appointing brokers. They're not just going to give out listings to people over WhatsApps. This is ludicrous. Stop doing it. You haven't met this person, but you're entrusting them to handle your asset, one of your most expensive things in your portfolio. This would make and force sellers to have formal interviews, which is how it should be. If I'm going to give someone a 45 mil listing, I need to have them in my house in front of me. I need to see, are you capable? Who are you? What's your background? What's your track record? What's your branding like? What's your presence? What's your demeanor? And that's the thing, right? If we had this system in place, it would be a far more mature approach. People would take listings seriously, and it would cut out the mediocre and rubbish brokers that get left behind.
So there you go. That's Zay's Brown's wish list. What about you, Rami? I'm going to close with my final question. I know we all focus a lot on Dubai. What about Abu Dhabi and Ras Al Khaimah? Pick one and why.
Ooh, very difficult.
Can I give you a clue?
Abu Dhabi is definitely the cornerstone. That is a
The capital.
100% sure shot. There's no way you can miss out. They have a much nicer landscape. They've got really nice beaches, and it is the powerhouse of the entire region. So definitely Abu Dhabi. However, Ras Al Khaimah has some interesting, unique selling points just because they have a small little section, but Abu Dhabi is so big compared to
Yeah,
to
different.
Ras Al Khaimah. So they're two different animals.
Zay?
I mean, the reality is Abu Dhabi is established and it's the capital. And my viewpoint is that you should invest in both for two different reasons. Ras Al Khaimah is a longevity in the future when the casino is handing over in 2027. That's when you can sort of expect. But we're talking about building out a full emirate. Right now, it's really just sand. There's not that much there, right? So this is a long-term sort of process. Whereas right now, you can enter Abu Dhabi, you get so much. The bang for your buck is insane in Abu Dhabi. Like the listing I picked up, like a triplex penthouse, 7,000 square foot private pool, 8.5 million dirhams. If you ask me to find you something in Dubai for 8.5 million dirhams with the private pool, a triplex penthouse, 7,000 square foot, it's like 45 mil minimum. And forget the private pool.
A lot of upside still to come in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi is a powerhouse. I mean, Yas Island is crazy exciting. I mean, they're also doing so much, they're building so much infrastructure to bring international, markets to Abu Dhabi. The gaming thing that's coming up in Abu Dhabi, like Ferrari World, Sea World, all this stuff, it's like a huge hub in its own right. Abu Dhabi is a dark horse. It's definitely one to watch out for. I keep saying to people, it's so undervalued. Like, you need to get into it now. So, yeah, Abu Dhabi.
Zay and Rami, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for the very informative information you give us. And I'm sure we will see more and more of your success, inshallah.
Definitely. Appreciate you having us. Thank you.